Hey guys, how's it going? And it's back to basketball. So after playing the Nightmare team for a little while, we're going to go play some Tecmo NBA Basketball. Let's just jump straight into this. We're going to play the Genesis version. Let me turn the sound on here for you. I've had a heck of a time here today. I uploaded a video on a different channel where I forgot to mix the sound together. That was pretty funny. I've had some heck of a time earlier on, I think it was a week ago, where I forgot to put the sound on for one of the videos I did on some channel or other. Yeah, it's been one of those periods of time. So let's go do some preseason, and we'll just do it the real central way, the real easy way. We'll go over here to the central. We'll choose the Bulls. You can't have the Bulls play against themselves. We just learned that. So we'll have the Bulls play against the Knicks. And we'll sort of see what's going on and kind of relax a little bit here. So I kind of wanted to play something that, wasn't like the EA Sports thing. I do want to play a little bit more of EA Sports games, though, and I'll tell you kind of what the idea is. I do want to do a video at some point in time on some of these EA Sports basketball games. And I think the best way to do that is likely to make a video that's going to compare maybe, I don't know, the other 92 games with this one. I say 92 games as in the games that came out in 92. So this game doesn't come out until 93. This game comes out at the same time that NBA Showtime? What is that game called? The EA sports game that came out like right before NBA Live. Anyway, you would think I would look this up beforehand, but of course I haven't. But I do want to do at least a little bit of comparison between these games and like their styles. This game has its problems, but and the problems here are similar to the NES version of this game. But the things that this game does really well, it does like incredibly well. Like for example, like there's actually like some speed to the game, right? Like it's actually possible to play defense, believe it or not. Stuff like that is really helpful in this game. And it really sort of makes this franchise kind of stand apart from the stuff that we were seeing with almost stole it. From the stuff that we were seeing with EA Sports. Now, if you can't figure out which guy I am, don't worry about it, because I can't either. I have absolutely no idea where I am, which is part of the charm of this game, right? Like not knowing where you are, not knowing where the ball is, not knowing what's going on. Okay, so here's Jordan, who's guard Bulls in this game, and unfortunately you can't change it. Like you can't be like, oh no, I don't want him to be guard Bulls or something like that. You can't. There's no way to edit anything. Oh shoot, I wanted to push past. There's no way to edit like player names, at least I know of. He just ends up always being guard Bulls. There I am pushing shoot instead of pass once again. So I'm not playing that well. We're still tied, so it could be worse. It's so interesting too, so I've been looking on YouTube for things that other people have been doing, and I found a guy who was playing. It wasn't this version of this game; it was the NES version, but who was like putting the game on like autoplay and like having this be like the replay of the whatever season is 91-92 season or something like that, which is interesting. I don't think that it really works in a YouTube context. I really don't. Because it's not very engaging, right? Especially since the guy decided not to put in like any commentary or anything. I mean, there's no reason to actually watch the video as opposed to just doing the automatic project yourself. But, it is sort of an idea. I bring that up here as Pippin dunks it. I like making fun of Pippin in the NBA Jam videos, as you know. I bring that up here though because I am really looking to do sort of like a replay project here on this channel. I've done a couple of them on other channels. I definitely do want to do something that's sort of historic, that deals with sort of like NBA history, a past season and stuff. And I've learned that the easiest way to deal with bits of history is probably to do a game and combine that with like historical, newspaper coverage and stuff like that. I've learned that sort of over time with some of my other channels. So some of you guys watch it, some of you guys don't. It doesn't really matter to me. But like if you check out my my football channel, for example, I have a series on there where I'm doing a thing with the Tecmo Super Bowl mod that has 1958. So we're going through the 58 New York Giants season, right? It's actually pretty cool because it. What did I do? Okay. All right, that was weird. I didn't even think that we were close to out of bounds, but whatever. Jordan with all the rebounds. You can keep doing that all day long. Jordan will set a record for rebounds. Anyway, but yeah, the reason why I'm saying that is because it's pretty cool. You can go back into like the old newspapers and stuff like that. Oh yeah, it's one of those nice passes. Yeah, you can go back into old newspapers and how was he out of bounds? This game is just so... Like, there's so many things I like about this game, but at the same time, all this weird stuff keeps happening where I'm like, what? What was that? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so, yeah, the cool thing about doing a project like that is that it allows me to, like, do some, like, historical research and put that as part of a video, but also make it so that the video feels like it's engaging, which is one of the problems that we have. So I've been thinking, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've been thinking about what to do for, you know, a basketball video that should come out like on Friday. I think that what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up doing a little bit more of that sort of like historic thing, and we might sort of combine gameplay with that, or we might sort of sometimes do gameplay, sometimes do another thing, or I don't know what we're going to do. Knowing how I usually do things, I'll probably try to do too much at once at first, and then it won't work, and then I'll like just look and see what works and try to do that, and you know, that's the way it is. We're YouTube professionals here, right? You know, my professional setup. So if you guys don't know this, like, oh, come on, that wasn't a foul. Jeez, come on. It was a flop, you know? Jeez, it was LeBron. That's what it was. Well, he missed a free throw, so that means he wasn't actually fouled. See, he wasn't actually fouled. It wasn't a foul. Ah, come on, Scotty. All right. Anyway, yeah, so you talk about professionalism on a YouTube channel, right? Like, if you haven't figured it out yet, this channel is one person, and that would be me. So there's no crew. Nobody's doing, like, the editing except for me. And, I mean, video editing is actually kind of fun, but, yeah, it takes some time. Dude, how do you not guard Scottie Pippen when he's like that? I mean, seriously. And the other thing is that, like, the scripts and stuff I do, they're all scripts that I write myself. So, like, I'm not using, like... It's another flop, man. I'm not using AI. I'm not using, you know, any of that stuff. All I'm doing is like my own thing. This is what this is. This is just me. This is like real. This is the way it is. So it's one of the reasons why I really like doing these types of videos with gameplay and stuff, because it's totally like unfiltered. I can, you know, kind of do and say whatever I want to do and say. I mean, with like normal limits, right? I'm not going to start like, you know, I don't know, like slamming on people or whatever. I'm not really the kind of personality anyway. But you know, that's sort of what this is all about. You know, it's sort of like, you know, giving you kind of the unfiltered access and stuff. And the one thing you can know is that, you know, like artificial intelligence or whatever, if you're looking at like an AI channel, it's not going to be able to do this. The AI is not going to like sit down and play some Tecmo Basketball for you on the Genesis. And if it does, it's not going to like make mistakes and shoot like half-court shots accidentally, or like start yelling at Scottie Pippen or whatever, you know. Anyway, this game is a lot easier than I remember it being. The NES game, like, I was like losing. I had a real hard time with that. And then this game, all of a sudden, it's like the easiest game in the world. All right, anyway. So while we look at the stats here, I'm actually going to go back here on camera. One thing I do want to say, like, really quickly is that if you enjoy this content, if you like watching this, if you find it fun, amusing, or whatever, please consider becoming a channel member. If you become a channel member, like, I mean, it really, really helps out a lot because this sort of helps me be able to continue doing the things that I do. If you're looking for, like, an alternative way to do it, you can also check out my Patreon. The link's always in the description of these videos. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I have a huge collection of Michael Jordan games I need to sort through before I put them up on Patreon. We're talking like stuff you won't find on YouTube, this sort of stuff, and we're talking like basically the whole career. So look for that coming soon. There's stuff that I already have up on Patreon that's very high quality that is very difficult to find. So if you might want to check that out, you get access to that stuff. The folder that I have is like 8.5 terabytes and is growing. It's going to get to the point where I need to push up to the next, you know, plan. So, you know, go check it out, you know, if you're into that stuff. But the most important thing is that this really helps out. It helps make it possible for me to keep doing this. Helps make it so I can, like, you know, pay to keep these lights on and the electricity flowing into the computer and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so thanks a whole ton. We'll just go ahead and go straight back to this. See, I can even do, you know, commercial better than AI, and I don't even write any ad copy, right? You know, I just come up with it, right? Anyways, there you have it. They're shooting 25%. We're shooting 70%. So, you know, go figure. The one problem I have with this version is that these cheerleaders look like, I don't know, look like space aliens, right? I mean, I don't know who came up with it. Why didn't they have the person who like put together like the cheerleaders for Tecmo Super Bowl do it for this, right? Those are the cheerleaders I want to see, man. Tecmo Super Bowl's halftime show is party central for me, man. I love it. I watch that all day long. All right. There we go. There we go. Up by 30 against the Knicks, against John Starks. So the thing I'm planning on doing instead of like a normal scripted video tomorrow is I'm probably going to finally do the sort of board game replay that I've been warning you guys about for a while. The only hesitancy I've had is that I don't know what the interest is going to look like for it, because it's not the sort of thing you usually see on YouTube. And when I go over to, you know, my good friend Rod's tabletop hoop site, for example, I know that like he doesn't exactly have like the views like knocking down the door, you know, and stuff. But having said that, I think that there's a way to do this sort of like replay content that actually does work and can be very engaging and very interesting to people. So look out for that coming probably tomorrow. The reason why I don't say today is because there's a couple of things I have to do to actually get like ready for it. But it should be coming, you know, like tomorrow. Like I'm going to make that basically like the whatever video. I just realized that for some reason the announcer's voice is off, so I'll have to say 2, you know, every time we make another shot. Anyway, so look for that coming. It's going to be different. Again, it's going to be different from every other like basketball thing that you'll see on YouTube. I mean, this is already a lot different from a lot of what other people are doing, but like, we're gonna do stuff that, you know, you haven't seen before and you probably didn't even know existed. So, you know, look forward to that. Now, the interesting thing about basketball is that it's a very, very difficult sport to simulate, right? So the easiest sport to simulate is probably baseball, because you have a lot of statistics that, you know, exist for all sorts of things, and you can kind of figure out how pitching and fielding work together in tandem with like the hitting stats and all that stuff. Basketball has got to be probably the hardest, actually, because hockey, at least you have plus-minus stats. You can kind of figure out what's going on. With basketball, like, there are basically no good defensive statistics for past seasons that can tell you anything about what's happening. And when we play this sim, we'll talk a lot about this, because it really is important. In fact, the people who made this sim, Hoops Basketball is what we're going to play, I talked with one of them. I sent him a message, this was several months ago, on Delphi forums, to ask him some questions about, like, you know, how he puts stuff together and stuff like that, and especially like what the hardest part is about this sim. And he told me, you know, without any like hesitation, that the hardest part is figuring out what to do with defense and defensive stats, because like for a lot of old NBA seasons, there's basically no defensive stats. Like for some seasons, sure, you can go back and you can see who had the most blocks, who had the most this, who had the most that, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? When you're looking at like actual defense in the NBA, the trick that you have is figuring out, like, you know, was a player really intimidating defensively, right? Did players who played against this guy, you know, score fewer points than anybody else? Is there something he's doing on defense that's not showing up in those stats? I say that thinking about Michael Jordan as I'm playing with him, because Michael Jordan was that kind of player, right? You look at these old Bulls games, if you spend time watching games from like the 90s, which everybody should be doing, it should be required viewing for children, and we need to get rid of this LeBron James stuff. But you know, if you spend time watching these games from like the 90s, oh yeah, Pippen, baby, that's NBA Jam right there. If you spend time watching these games from the 90s, you'll notice that a lot of these games, you know, had like real quiet and slow offenses. Like I was watching, this was actually a couple of months ago, I was watching the first Bulls game of the 92-93 season, the Bulls against Cleveland, in Cleveland. And you notice that both teams have this offense that looks like it's moving kind of slow. It's not because the teams were incapable of running, though. A lot of it's because of the way that the Bulls were playing defense, right? And it was just like cutting off and stifling any sort of fast game, right? And like, while it is true that if you are very familiar with what happens in today's NBA and you look back in the NBA of those days, you'll be like, oh, you know, this is you know, the old NBA is nothing like it is today. Today's NBA is so much better, blah, blah, blah. There is actually some truth to those statements, right? Players today tend to be much bigger, tend to be much stronger. They also tend to be taller on average. But despite that fact, like, you know, it is also true that there's this like natural balance in the NBA between offense and defense. And it's very, very difficult to figure out how you're going to actually put numbers on it, especially when you're dealing with past seasons. The other thing that's difficult to do with past seasons is that you get players who play more than one defensive position. What do you do with that, right? You want to make sure that, like, you know, this guy can be a center, or he can be a forward, or this forward maybe sometimes will play as a center or something like that. But he's going to have different abilities depending upon his different positions. So that's something that every game has a difficulty with, right? So, like, you can see it. If you start messing around a little bit with stuff, you'll sort of see what happens. I can't remember if it was... I think it was actually Hoops when I was doing a test game the other day, right? And you try to put, like, you know, a big center, or have him guard, I don't know, like Michael Jordan or somebody like that. And if you do something like that with the games that allow you to do that, you know, you should have like a different type of effect, right? Maybe the center is able to block more shots, but maybe he's very immobile and has some problems defensively that way, right? There needs to always be something in the game that allows you to have that sort of flexibility. There are some basketball sims out there, I'm thinking of Replay in particular, that they don't actually allow you to do that. You're not allowed to do defensive switching and stuff like that, which is a real big problem. This is cheating, I know, but because my guys are faster. It's so cheap. And the other problem that's cheap is you got Pippen, Jordan, and Armstrong, who are all like incredible defenders, right? So like they're totally overrated in this game. I mean, like, not overrated in the sense that they're not really that good, but overrated in the sense that like this team's gonna go undefeated if you play a full season with them. So, by the way, if somebody actually asked me if you know, I shouldn't do like a full season with Tecmo NBA Basketball, and like as good of an idea as it sounds, the reason why I don't do it is because this actually gets really boring after a while. I mean, the game is great because of its flow. But after a while, you know, look at it, we won by 60 points. We shot 71%, they shot 33%, right? I mean, like, these stats are totally ridiculous, right? Like, you know, if you're doing this for an 82-game season, after a game like 10, you're gonna be like, I wanna go play something else. Look at that, Scotty outscored Jordan. In fact, Armstrong outscored Jordan, so something was wrong with our game. That can't be happening. Starks had 14, Ewing only had 10. That's because we kept stealing the ball. So there you go. That's the end of that game, and that's a little bit of that. We didn't even hit 20 minutes today. How about that? Anyway, there are a couple of my thoughts. There's some Tecmo Super NBA Basketball that feels really good after playing Team Disaster, or whatever it's called. I am going to do a video that sort of recaps that, and we're going to compare that a little bit to the Tecmo NBA games, and probably also to some of the other EA Sports games that are like that. So look for some more videos like that coming in the near future. And of course, as always, more NBA Jam. So anyway, I hope you're having a great day, evening, whatever time it is you're watching this. I'll talk with you later. Bye.